Welcome to part 4, where we're going to be lining the inside of the shed with OSB 2 board, and then we're going to be sprucing it up and improving the utility of the shed itself. So we have got the first section of the ceiling in. Now, it has been a case of trial and error. The ply board that I was using is basically too pliable, so it keeps bowing and bending, and it just wasn't quite working. So then I've decided to switch to OSB. The problem with this stuff is it's pretty heavy, so to try and lift this on my own, doing one sheet at a time, it's too much basically. So what I've decided to do is cut it in half, and then basically have one end joining here, which I've screwed in. I need to get a little L bracket on that end just to keep it propped up a bit better. I've come to this centre beam, and then I've put 4 screws in, and then I've done the same on this side. You'll have to note though, I've had to lower the pitch or the height of the ceiling, because it was proving too much of an angle to head up to the top of the boards here. So that's why I've come down, which actually I'm thinking is not too much of a bad thing, because it may aid with sort of ventilation and things like that. So what I had to do was put these pieces of timber right the way across at the same height, so I can lay one edge of the board here. I'll then attach that in a sec with screws. So I'm going to switch focus now and focus on putting the rest of the OSB on the walls, and I'm going to show you the process of cutting out like an L shape for this piece here. So the first part of the process was to measure the height from the ceiling down to the floor, and that's 2008 millimeters. Then I needed to figure out how far to come in, so I measured from this end to here, to the middle of this strut here, which is 15.1 centimeters, and then I measured the height which runs up here, which is 80 centimeters. So I'll now show you outside how I'm then putting that onto the OSB board. So I'm going to imagine that this is the board that's going to go up on that wall. So I'm going to cut this piece out here, so then we've got the L shape which runs down, allowing space for the window. So first thing I've done is measure 15.1 from the edge, and then I've used a little right angle thing to draw a straight line down there, and I know this line now needs to run for 80 centimeters, so I'm going to mark that out, and then I'm going to join a straight line to the edge just here. So then I've got my 80 coming in 15.1. Okay, then I'm going to draw a straight line 2008 millimeters from the top all the way to the bottom, draw a straight line across, and then I need to cut that line as well. So I've got my L shape that I need to cut out here. In terms of equipment that I'm using, I've got hearing protection, some ballistic proof goggles, okay, safety glasses, and then I've been using this circular saw. I find it's much easier to use than a jigsaw, because you can get much straighter cuts, and on stuff this it's genuinely like a knife going through butter. So I'll show you that process now. Okay, top tip, just wait until the blade's stopped before you pop it on the floor, particularly with angle grinders, because they can spin up otherwise. All I needed to do was just figure out it's this left indentation that's in line with the blade. So all I've done is just kept the line that I've marked on the wood in that indentation. That's allowed me to get the straight line and the straight cut. So now to mark off 2008 millimeters from the top down to the bottom, and then I'll cut along that straight line as well. Okay, so that's the L shape in place. It's not quite even along here, but I'm not going to get too hung up on that. I can always go along later and cut this off with like one of those little multi-tool things. If I do that, I'll update you on the video of that. What I did do before I popped this in place was felt along behind the Proplex and found where the downward strut comes down, and then I've just marked up here, you can see a pencil line there. So I know if I draw a straight line from there straight down, that's where the strut will be, and I can screw into that. So yeah, I'm just gonna get this attached now, and then we'll crack on. Done. Thank goodness. It's all lined now with this OSB 3 board with the Proplex behind. Obviously the joins aren't completely amazing, so I'm going to cover that up with a strip of wood now, just so it looks nice and neat. But it's serving a purpose, so I'm relatively happy. Okay, so I've put in this supporting piece of timber right the way across. I just use that piece of wood on the floor with the breeze block behind just to hold up one end, and then I popped up this end and put in the 2 screws, then ran up the other end, put in the 2 screws just above the prop. Then I could release that and then just go in and put screws to tie it all in. And then I've just used Gorilla Tape, or you could use duct tape, just where the joins were quite wide. And this tape is waterproof, and it's meant to be really good adhesive as well, so hopefully that will be sufficient. So now all that's left to do, finish off painting the exterior, and I'm going to start putting some brackets on the walls and start to get it tidy, ready to put stuff in. Great stuff. I think we can call this mission accomplished. So I've basically been adding brackets, in order to basically take the weight of wood for storage. I've added some shelving as well, and basically on this side I've added in these nail supports all the way along on this side, and then this piece of timber, which was just to sort of cover up the mismatch aesthetically. It's actually been really useful for these sort of brackets to thread into here and take the weight of these sheets. Just a little bit of caging and hanging S-hooks off, so they'll be useful for holding bits and pieces. But other than that, yeah, job done. Happy that. I mean, I could spend an age just titivating and all the rest of it, but as it is, I'm happy, and I'd say this is job done.